Morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 147 in the book of Genesis. Today's title is The People on the Other Side of the Tracks. We're going to talk about Esau's descendants, the Edomites. Now, sometimes old towns used to be separated by railroad tracks between the haves and the have-nots. And today we're going to talk about the have-nots in a spiritual sense. So the Edomites, the Esau descendants versus the haves are the Jacob, and the rest of the people that are described in the book of Genesis are going to be described from the lineage of Jacob, also called Israel. But before he gets to Israel, he wants to finish up. So this is Genesis chapter 36. And this is kind of the unspoken family history. It's a little bit less palatable because the main thrust of Genesis is this redemptive plan that is beginning by God's choosing a people from which a savior comes. And that group of people is not the Edomites. It's Jacob and the Israelites. So I don't usually summarize chapters of the Bible, very rare in this podcast. Usually we've read every single word, but I am going to summarize chapter 36 because it's kind of what God is doing is just tidying up the other side of the tracks before he gets to the good side of the tracks. So this is Genesis chapter 36. I'll read a little bit here. These are the generations of Esau, that is Edom. Esau took wives from the Canaanites, which he wasn't supposed to do. We'll get to that. And then it describes his sons, his wives, his daughters, the livestock, that he has a lot of livestock. So he is blessed with a lot of stuff. He has so much stuff that he has to go into a land away from his brother because their possessions were too great to be together. So Esau settles in the hill country of Seir. And then he has many generations. So he's the father of many sons, many grandsons. And from that line of people come chiefs, come kings, come discoverers. One guy discovered some hot springs. So chapter 36 is this long genealogy and history of the Edomites, which are the named descendants of Esau. As you remember, Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. The crazy thing is the Edomites means red. And so they're named literally after the red stew that Jacob used to deceive his father to steal the blessing. This is from Genesis chapter 25. And Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stew, for I am exhausted." And therefore, his name was called Edom. So Esau is named for it, and this people are named for this red stew. So it's just a constant reminder of the consequences of forgetting to remember the value of your birthright and letting the passions of the moment rule over you. So, teaching point here for all of you: the best decisions are made with the longest time frame possible. That's an easy teaching point. All right, so the Lord and Isaac gives this blessing to Jacob, but he doesn't forget Esau. So he gets 14 chiefs of tribes. He gets this generations that carry on. He gets kings and he gets rulers. He gets livestock. He gets property. He gets place. He gets possession. He gets the gift of marriage. Now he continually makes some bad choices. So he specifically takes wives from Canaan. Now the Lord wanted his people not to take foreign wives. So in 28:6, it says, Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Paddan Aram to take a wife from there. And that as he blessed him, he directed him, "You must not take a wife from the Canaanite women," basically from the people who were native from the land of Canaan. And that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother and gone to Paddan Aram. So Jacob goes and he gets Rachel and Leah and works for another 6 years. So he's away for 20 years doing that. So what does Esau do? Verse 8. So when Esau saw that the Canaanite women did not please Isaac his father, he immediately does that. Esau went to Ishmael and took as his wife, besides the wives he has, Mahaliah, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth. So whatever you do, don't marry a pagan woman. Don't do that. Don't marry someone who doesn't follow the Lord. Don't marry somebody who specifically worships someone else. And when Esau hears that, that his parents are particularly concerned over this issue, he knows exactly what he's going to do, which is exactly the opposite of that. It's just a classic. I know this will make mom and dad mad, and he does it specifically. So let's just summarize some of his negatives. So he marries more than one wife. He commits himself to murder of his brother. He's such a passionate person. He sells his birthright for a pot of stew. Um, and it's such an important watershed moment that his entire land and his entire people, his entire heritage is named for that passionate moment. He sets his heart to irritate his parents by marrying Canaanite women. So basically, he's the wrong side of the tracks guy. Now, what happens with him is of interest is 1,000 years down the line, Saul and David go to war against the Edomites, and David and Saul both have victory militarily. All right, so I'm trying to find some positives about Esau. Probably the biggest thing is he doesn't kill his brother Jacob upon his return after he comes back from 20 years with Laban. And I think that might be a miraculous change of heart not to kill his brother. I think the Lord had to intervene there, and he turns his 400 men away from violence. So the Lord doesn't forget Esau despite his bad decisions. He still gives him life. He still gives him marriage. He still gives him the ability to prosper. He still gives him some common graces. And even as an outsider to the privileged covenant of the promises of God, Esau has been granted life in family and choice. So I guess the bottom line teaching point is even if you're from the wrong side of the tracks or feel like you are, you can still enjoy the blessings of life itself, family, and also you have the agency to choose to follow God. Thanks for listening.